I'm sitting here. I'm sitting here considering turning off the camera, shutting down my laptop, and just going back into bed because, truth be told, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. You know? My. It's not that I don't love this podcast. It's not that I don't love my channel. It's not that I don't love my fans. I don't love my listeners. I don't love what I do. I do. But I'm just. I don't know. I don't know what to call it anymore. The last couple weeks, the last couple months, really, it's just. I just don't feel there. I don't feel my desire just to do this anymore. I can't. My desire, just my love as a wrestling fan has fallen so much in the last couple weeks. It's absolutely insane. I have sat here for years, through some of the worst times as a wrestling fan, and I've still done my job. Right? Coming on here, talking about Raw, talking about SmackDown, talking about how bad the product is. And yes, you do have AEW on the other hand, which is actually, on the most part, it's actually consistently good for the most part each week. AEW is not perfect, but, at least from a creative standpoint, they're pretty damn good. But I just sit here and I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. I don't have that urge, that desire to turn on the camera like I used to. I don't. I watch WWE be bad and I'm just like, oh, another week WWE's bad. Move on with my life. You guys have seen it. You guys have seen the consistency. There was a time where I was here every Friday, every Monday, giving you guys Raw and SmackDown reviews. No matter if the show was great, which was rare, and when it was piss poor terrible, which was what it was most weeks. Now I just know that he's gonna be bad, and I just don't want to talk about it. I just feel like, well, yep, WWE's bad. Maybe better luck next week. I'm just so sick and tired of the old formula. I'm just so sick of it, man. And it just pisses me off how WWE just doesn't get it. They don't get it. Every week, they make the same mistakes. You live in the social media era, right? You have YouTube, you have Twitter, you have all these ways to connect with your fans. You have all these sources of information, right? All you have to do is look to your fans and they will tell you what you need to do to be successful. It's not that hard. It really is not that hard. But each and every single week, WWE continues to fail. They continue to fail. Because you have Vince McMahon, you have Kevin Dunn, you have Bruce Pritchard, you have John Laurinaitis, you have all those fucking yes men that just sit there and suck Vince off. And they just don't realize. They just don't realize how much damage they truly are. And then they release these superstars who have all the potential to carry this company into the future. To guarantee that WWE will continue to make billions and billions of dollars for years to come. So that you wouldn't need to release superstars to make these damn budget cuts. But yet they don't push them. They don't book them correctly. It's the same old formula, man. I would say, it doesn't surprise me, but it does surprise me a little bit that WWE is this blind to the truth. Like, how can you have the truth staring you in the face, the answer to all your problems, and yet you never, ever go and make the change necessary? Like, I could sit here and bitch and moan and rant, and I know a lot of you guys would be very entertained if I went on a huge rant right now about WWE. right? You guys would be entertained. The likes would go up. The super chats would come in, and you guys have sent me video clips on social media, on Instagram and Twitter. Some of you guys have sent me video clips of moments from this podcast, and they made me smile. Like, dang, I'm really glad I'm entertained to you guys, you know. But I just don't have the energy, man. I haven't felt good in months, like months, you know physically, mentally. This is a lot going through my mind right now. And, just when I look at WWE, it's just the product, just watching it, it's so depressing because that they have everything there to be great like they were in the past. But because of the upper management structure and their refusal to change, they continue to suffer. They continue to make the same mistakes every single week. Their television ratings continue to fall. They don't care. They don't care. Their ticket sales, you're seeing less and less people in the arena every single week. They don't care. They just don't care. And it's hard. It's hard because I am still a WWE fan, but it's so hard to enjoy it. It's so hard to enjoy them because they just make the same mistake. I say this stuff all the time. I legit sit on my television and I can legit book this company better sitting on my television than the people who get paid thousands of dollars to do so. I just don't understand, man. I don't understand it. Really. And let me go to the Becky Lynch thing, right? Let me stop ranting about WWE because most of my anger at WWE right now, is stemming from the outcome of the Becky and Liv Morgan match. And it's not that it was anything surprising, right? It wasn't like we didn't see this happening, because we did. It just stuns me how WWE just doesn't see what's right in front of them. Really. All day, all week, on social media, people have been talking about Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan, right? Because everyone wants to see a new star. You have Becky Lynch. I'll give Becky credit. She can cut good promos. She cut a damn good promo earlier tonight when she said, if you succeed, I think she said, if you succeed, the fans will cheer you. But if you succeed too much, they will boo you. No, Becky. Even though it was a good line, no. The problem Becky doesn't understand is she has already become the Charlotte 2.0. For years, the reason why we've hated Charlotte is that she has buried everybody in front of her. She has constantly been elevated over everybody else. Everybody else. Right? And people are like, oh no, Charlotte, she's just doing her job. Shut the fuck up. Really. All those times she could have gone to the company and be like, and pitch better storylines. Or pitch, no, I don't want to, I think it would be better for the sake of the women's division if you do this, X, Y, and Z. Have this person be champion. I actually could do this. I could be Andrade's manager or whatever. Right? Here we go. And now Becky has become what we hated Charlotte for all those years. We don't hate Becky because she found success. Because I sat on here for years and I talked about how I wanted Becky to succeed. It's because Becky, after she became the man, she fell down that trap. And I don't want to spend an hour over here going through Becky's whole career. I've talked about that in the past. And I don't want to do that again. But the problem is Becky is not doing what other people did for her in the past. Right? Sasha Banks in 2019 or 20? I'm getting, the years go by so quick that I forget. What was it 2019 when Sasha and Becky feuded? Right? That was 2 years ago. Right? Ronda Rousey elevated Becky Lynch. And what Becky has failed to repay the favor to everybody else. I heard a stat today on Monday Night Raw that absolutely blew my mind. The commentator said that ever since WrestleMania 35, every single day that Becky Lynch has been active on the main roster, she has been champion. So you take out the time that she was out being pregnant, basically, right? Because I think that was about it. Becky has been pregnant every single day she's been active since WrestleMania 35. Because she held the Raw Women's Championship from WrestleMania 35 past WrestleMania 36 when she announced that she was pregnant. Then she was gone. She came back at SummerSlam earlier this year and she won the SmackDown Women's Championship. And she's been champion ever since then. That is mind-blowing. So basically, what, something like 500 days. 500, close to 600 days, Becky has been champion. Ever since she's been active. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. Right? And over that time, over that 500, 600 days, right? Since WrestleMania 35, because that was when Becky reached her peak, right? Becky's big moment. How many defining moments does Becky have after that? Truly, if you actually think about it, how many truly defining moments does Becky have ever since then? Not that many. How many people have Becky actually elevated? Not that many. And I'm not going to sit here and go through everything with you because I'm not going to waste time like that. But the only ones I can really think of are, you know, Sasha Banks, the Sasha Banks feud from 2019, the Hell in a Cell match, right? A couple of the matches with Asuka. And that's about it. That's about it. Because you look at everything else that Becky did. You know, the feud with Liv Morgan, failure. The feud with Natalya, failure. The feud with Shayna Baszler, failure. Right? She came back. The feud with Bianca Belair, which I was just about to mention, failure. And now, Liv Morgan, failure. Survivor Series match with Charlotte, I don't give a shit. Failure. That's it. So all this time that Becky has been champion since WrestleMania 35, she has done nothing to elevate anybody. She's been elevated enough over the last 3 years, but she hasn't elevated anybody during that time. She has become Charlotte 2.0. All right? There's no denying it. There's no denying it anymore. It's absurd. And she can go on and on, and I don't know if this is just her heel character or if she actually feels this. I don't really give a shit. She can go on and on about how the fans turned on her because she succeeded too much. No, that's not the case, right? Because John Cena succeeded too much, but people still love him because Cena elevated people in the process. Cena didn't. There's this misconception that John Cena buried everybody for 10 years when he was on the top of WWE. Really? Seriously? Go ask CM Punk. Go ask CM Punk that. Right? But this is about John Cena. But the thing about it is, Becky has not elevated anybody in the time that she became the top star in WWE at WrestleMania 35 outside of Roman Reigns. Alright? I don't give a shit what anybody says. I don't care anymore. Right? She has become the Charlotte 2.0, and I will keep repeating it till it gets in the mind of you clowns. Cause I'm not gonna sit here losing my voice, bitching and moaning. I already feel like shit, right? I'm just gonna sit here and give you the facts, and you can choose to digest them as much as you want. Cause truly, I don't want to be here. I don't. I lose passion for being a WWE fan every single week. I truly do lose it. Because of decision making like this. They go in circles. It's like a hamster on a wheel. Seriously. What's going to happen to you? Like, look at SmackDown right now. Right? What's going to happen when Charlotte faces Toni Storm eventually? Charlotte is going to, crush Toni Storm. And Toni Storm's not going to be elevated in the process. Until Sasha Banks takes that title away from Charlotte Flair. Whenever that happens. Right? Charlotte's not going to elevate anybody. Charlotte and Becky, anytime they are at the top of the women's division, Raw or SmackDown, they don't elevate anybody. Why do you think this year's been such a bad year for the women's division? Look at people like Nikki ASH, Rhea Ripley, right? Liv Morgan, Bianca Belair, all the other women superstars that were released throughout the year. Why haven't they been elevated? Why has the women's division had such a poor year? Because everything is about Becky and Charlotte. I understand that Becky and Charlotte are stars, right? 4 horsewomen, we know how big, and they're future Hall of Famers. But they don't always have to be at the top. Seriously. Seriously. People want to see new names like Liv Morgan, right? Becky Lynch turned heel. And like I said, it's been forever since I did a Raw review, right? Becky Lynch turned heel. Becky Lynch turned heel way back, back in summer, whenever she turned heel, right? She did not elevate Bianca Belair. And I know Bianca's feuding with Doudrop right now, right? And whatever, and they're doing whatever. But the thing about it is, the whole point of Becky Lynch turning heel was to elevate Bianca Belair, right? She buried Bianca Belair. And Bianca has not recovered. She has not recovered. And I'm a fan of Bianca Belair. I actually enjoyed what they did with her in Doudrop tonight. But I will be the first to sit here and tell you that Becky buried Bianca. Becky buried Bianca. And she has not recovered and may never recovered. Right? And now it's happening to Liv Morgan. Everyone wants to talk about, oh, Liv Morgan should win the Royal Rumble. Oh, no, Liv Morgan needs to win at WrestleMania. This is going to be the Liv Morgan underdog story. Guys, do you honestly have any belief that Liv Morgan's going to win the Royal Rumble and go on to beat Becky at WrestleMania? Do you really think that's going to happen? Guys! Seriously? You trust that WWE is going to have this long-term story they have this long-term story planned out for Liv Morgan from now, December, all the way over to WrestleMania in Dallas in April. They're going to have this whole story mapped out for Liv Morgan to become Raw Women's Champion. You trust these sons of guns? You trust those bitches in Connecticut? I don't. If anything, it's going to be Becky. It's going to be Becky versus Ronda Rousey, right? Unless Ronda comes back, right? Or unless Ronda chooses not to come back. I know Ronda just had a kid. Or it'll probably be something like Becky versus Asuka or something like that. Something like that. Tonight was the night you had to make a new star. You had Trish Stratus. Right? Everyone's talking about how 20 years ago, Trish Stratus and Lita main evented Monday Night Raw. And how big a night or how big a moment this was going to be for Liv Morgan tonight. Trish Stratus texted Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan put screenshots on her Twitter as Trish Stratus texted her this morning. Everybody's been talking about how big this was for Liv Morgan. I've been talking about it. Even though I said Becky's going to win, I am pulling hard for Liv right now. Because you guys know how much I love Liv Morgan. She is so underrated. But WWE had no plans for Liv Morgan the last fucking 4 years. All of a sudden, you think they have plans for Liv Morgan now? Right? They have plans for her to have this underdog story all the way to WrestleMania? No! What's most likely going to happen is it's going to be Sasha versus Charlotte or Sasha versus Trish, right? On the SmackDown side of things. And on Raw, it's either going to be Becky versus Ronda, Becky versus Asuka, or maybe Becky versus Bayley, depending on if Bayley's able to come back for WrestleMania, right? Then Liv Morgan's going to be probably put in a battle royal. This is the kind of stuff. Tonight was the night to do it. Everybody is cheering for Liv. This was one of the... You don't see this often. You don't. But almost everybody was pulling for Liv tonight. Everybody was. And tonight was the night you should have done it. You had freaking Biggie cash in Boston. You had Biggie go on social media and announce that he was cashing in. The night, the place, the time... You had Biggie legit announce when he was going to cash in. All the specific details. But you can't give us a big unexpected moment with Liv winning tonight? Why? It doesn't hurt Becky. It's not going to do anything to Becky in the long run. It's not going to mean shit in the long run. This is the kind of shit that I just don't understand. I really don't understand. What, you're going to give us a rematch with Becky and Liv now? Clearly, because there's nobody else in that women's division. There's absolutely nobody else. Bianca's feuding with Doudrop. right? Zelina and Carmella are feuding with Rhea and Nikki ASH over the meaningless women's tag titles. There's nobody else. So, clearly, you're going to do Becky and Liv again at day one. You think they're going to do the thing at the pay-per-view before the Royal Rumble? Hell no. That's why you should have done it tonight. You should have done it tonight. Because now it is that much more predictable that Becky's going to win at day one. Alright? Simple as that. Because I don't see Liv winning the Royal Rumble. I think it's going to be Sasha. And that's not even me as a Sasha Banks fan saying that she's going to win. I just think there's really no other choice. If I took my bias as a Sasha Banks fan out of the equation, right? Who else do you guys think is going to win the Royal Rumble? There's nobody else. That's how bad a job WWE has done of building up their women's division. There is nobody else that I can legit make an argument for to win the Women's Royal Rumble this year. Bianca's not winning it again. Unless maybe Bayley comes back and wins it. But I don't think Bayley's going to be cleared yet. So you look at the women's division, right? There's nobody you can make an argument for on Raw or SmackDown outside of Liv and Sasha. Sasha's most likely going to be the one to win the Women's Royal Rumble this year. So I don't know why we just didn't do it tonight. It's an endless cycle. Liv does not look over. She does not look over because she lost tonight. You haven't booked her correctly the last 4 fucking years. Now what? You give her one decent main event tonight against Becky Lynch, and you think that's enough for Becky just to make it on her own? No. Because what? You do the rematch at day one. Becky wins again at day one, right? The feud probably ends after that. And then what? Liv goes right back into just being, one of the others. She goes right back into one of the others and being meaningless and not having any clear direction on this show. That's why you should have done it tonight. Tonight was the night. You gave her the video package and everything. Why didn't you do it tonight? Why? Tonight would have been the perfect time to do it. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, because WWE has this addiction of needing the title to be on Becky or Charlotte. It's the same endless circle. They beat everybody around them. Why do people not get sick when Sasha Banks or Bayley is holding a championship or Asuka? Because they don't bury everybody around them. Plus, when they are champion, they actually elevate the people around them. They make them look better coming out of big title matches and feuds. Sasha actually made Carmella look better coming out of their feud last year. How many people did Bayley elevate over the year that she was the best heeled champion in WWE? Right? Like, think about it, guys. When Becky and Charlotte hold the championship, no, they just bury people. But when Sasha and Asuka and Bayley held the title, no, when they had title matches, when they had feuds, they actually cared about making their opponent look just as good as them, regardless of if they were going to retain their titles or not. Becky and Charlotte don't do that. Becky has actually won every single one of her title matches the same, if you guys have been paying attention. Becky, when she pinned Sasha at, Crown Jewel, roll-up, cheating, right? Survivor Series against Charlotte, cheated with her foot on the rope. Same way, and if you looked at it tonight, Becky beat Liv the same exact way that she buried Bianca Belair about a month ago on Raw. The exact same way. Cheating. And of course, WWE doesn't know how to book their baby faces. Liv just sits there in shock, and she's crying, and all this other stuff. She's not bitching and moaning to the ref like she should have been of how Becky just cheated away again. Again. It doesn't do anything for anybody. It's the same endless circle of violence. This is why my desire to do Raw reviews is not the same way. It's not. It's not. Because I can sit here and bitch and moan. You guys can, enjoy and be entertained. But mentally, it hurts. It hurts. Because I want to see WWE succeed. I want to do a happy review once in a while. I don't want to have to sit out here and actually have to drink tea after review to get my voice back. I don't. But this is the way WWE is. And they just never fucking learn. You guys come on, and usually I'm the one that sits here and fantasy books everything, but I don't want to. I don't. We can sit here and fantasy book Liv Morgan to win the Royal Rumble and have this fantastic underdog story, and then beat Becky at WrestleMania, right? But the chances of that actually happening are pretty unlikely. Pretty unlikely. I want to see Liv succeed. Really. Tonight was the night and you refused to do it. And it's just sad and disappointing. It truly is. Because every time you want to have just a little faith that WWE will learn from their past mistakes and actually do what's right, they choose not to. They're like, no, let's just have our same garbage formula. Let's just have Becky and Charlotte stomp through our divisions. Look, what? Becky's going to hold that title till WrestleMania. Right? She's probably holding that title till WrestleMania. I don't know who she's dropping it to, but that's probably what's happening right now. And you look, there's nobody else rooting for Becky to face. Really. She's already buried Bianca. She's burying Liv as we speak. There's nobody else there as competition for Becky. What, Doudrop? You think it's believable that Doudrop has any chance to defeat Becky? Fuck no. Of course not. Of course not. There's nobody else in that division. There's nobody else in that division that has a chance against Becky. So, hey, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. This is what happens when you keep the same people as champion all the time who don't do anything for their divisions. You just have them completely beat everybody over and over and over and over again until there's no division. Right now, there is no division on Monday Night Raw. Well, wait, watch. I know what's going to happen. I see Anthony in the chat, right? And I haven't looked at your text yet. But this is what's probably going to happen. Alexa Bliss has been gone now for, 2-3 months? She's not injured. But I know she just requested some time off. If anything, Alexa Bliss is probably going to be the one to take the title off Becky. That's probably WWE's secret plan, right? Because Alexa Bliss was drafted to Raw. So what? Becky Lynch is a heel. Alexa Bliss is going to be the one to come back with the feed character, right? She's going to come back, and she's going to be the one to take down Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. That's probably where this is all going. That's what's happening here. Alexa Bliss will be the one to take the Raw Women's Championship off Becky Lynch. Won't be Liv Morgan. We won't be creating a new star. No, they're going to be going with the one who stole Bray Wyatt's favorite character. And then there you have it. There you have it. I don't know what that's probably the direction we're going. Are you guys surprised? Will you guys actually be surprised? I won't be. I won't. Because this is what WWE does. Absolutely pathetic. You had a chance to make a new start tonight, and what do you do? What do? You go right back to your same old formula. But thank you guys for coming to the Legit Shoot podcast. Right? I know it's been a while. Like I said, my desire to do reviews right now is at an all-time low. It's at an all-time low. Because, man, they're be so bad that most days I don't even feel like turning on the camera anymore. Like I don't even feel like turning on the camera when Sasha Banks is on SmackDown. Really, Sasha Banks and Shayna Baszler have a nice little match on SmackDown. Sasha's on a roll right now as a babyface. Clearly, they're saving her for Charlotte. Right, they're doing everything in their power to keep Sasha versus Charlotte from happening, because it looks like Sasha's most likely gonna be the one to win the Royal Rumble. She's the favorite right now. There's nobody else. There's absolutely nobody else right now. Sasha's most likely probably gonna win the Women's Royal Rumble, right? Even though I wouldn't be surprised if they went with somebody else, because WWE is known for disappointing us when it comes to Sasha Banks. But Sasha's probably gonna win the Women's Royal Rumble, and then she's gonna be put in line to take that title from Charlotte. But like fucking hell, man. I don't know. Let me read what Anthony texted me. Uh, oh, he just told me to read what he put in the chat about Becky. I don't know. What did he say? Anthony says Becky's push was literally a mistake thanks to Nia. Told you from the moment Becky won the Women's Royal Rumble in 2019. Sorry for repeating myself. I love being right. Did you say anything else? Everything Anthony says, I'm not surprised because Anthony's been a broken record now for years. What up, Lil Day, bro? Look, I wasn't really planning on doing a review, but hell, it was like whatever. King, I forgot your name. I forgot your real name. No, I did not forget. Edward. I disagree with you when you say her heel turn was rushed so quickly. Her heel turn, Becky. First of all, Becky should have not been turned heel regard. No, fuck the heel turn shit, right? Becky should have never won the title to begin with. It should have never happened. It should have never happened. Becky should have never beat Bianca at SummerSlam to begin with. All right. I understand. We still whatever happened with Sasha, that was, if anything, Sasha should have regained that title from Bianca at SummerSlam. In a perfect world, that's what happened, right? Becky, but the thing about it is, Becky should have never been the one to take the title from Bianca to begin with. It should have never happened, you know. But here we are. WWE always wants Becky and Charlotte on top, and they just bury everybody else. I don't know what else to tell you. You know, man, I just hate that for Liv. But anyway, you know, like I said, my desire to do Raw reviews these days, guys, is at an all-time low. Like, it's almost depressing to be a Monday, just a WWE fan in general. You know, like I'm telling you, if Sasha Banks was not in WWE, I would probably not be watching at all. I would probably just be watching AEW. It is so much. It's so enjoyable to watch AEW these days, and it's so depressing to watch WWE because you know what WWE could be, and they refuse to do it. But before anything, I wonder what happened with I don't know. Does anybody have an update on what happened to Does anybody have an update on what happened to Jeff Hardy? Can someone like I heard the news, I saw the video of him, you know, at what happened at the house show event, right? There was a tag team match with McIntyre and Hardy versus Roman and somebody else. And, you know, all of a sudden Hardy just left the ring. He just left. You know, he didn't even go up the ramp. He went through the crowd, and then you see WWE officials running after him, right? And, you know, after the match, McIntyre was wondering what the hell happened to Hardy. You know, they're wondering, like, where did he go? He just randomly left, you know. And then we got the report that Hardy was sent home from the road, right? And people were saying he was looking sluggish during the match, right? Sean Rossap of Fightful said that Hardy had a rough night. And we know that Hardy's had a very, very a long history of, you know, substances, and things of that nature. We don't know what happened to him. I just wanted to see if anybody had an update on that. I agree with you, JQ. I completely agree with you. The day Sasha leaves WWE is probably the day I stop watching WWE. I like for like or at least watching on a weekly basis. Maybe I would keep up with it, but I would probably stop watching it every single week. I'm having trouble watching it these days, man. But JQ, you said something earlier. JQ said, uh, JQ says, and this is all WWE's illogical actions is the reason why we hate Becky Lynch now. Agreed. Like having Becky Lynch win at SummerSlam, for example. I was actually excited for Becky Lynch to come back. I was actually was. And then Becky came back and they had her win at SummerSlam. And now Becky's being booked like Charlotte 2.0. I was once a Becky Lynch fan, for if people don't forget. I was once very, very high on Becky Lynch. I loved her. She was my favorite superstar after Sasha Banks. And then Becky became Charlotte 2.0. I was just looking in the chat. Anthony says, I wasn't excited. I never was a fan. That is true. I disagree with you there. If you go back to like what was it, our 2018 reviews? No. If you go back to 2018, you didn't hate Becky back then. I no, like I was there, Anthony. You didn't hate Becky back in 2018. I wouldn't say you were a fan, but you didn't hate her back then. All right. Think about it. I'm not gonna go pull up the clips because I'm not gonna go. That'll take too much time. But you definitely did not hate Becky back in 2018. Anyway, uh, I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you guys. I was excited not because I wanted to see Becky back at the top division. I just thought there were some matches that Becky could do that that would help elevate other people in the women's division. But no, they just came back and they just had Becky absolutely destroy everybody once again. Just buried, right? If you think about it, it's almost like we're right back to what Becky's first title reign was, when she first won the Raw Women's title back in WrestleMania 35. You know, she's wrestling a little bit more, right? She's wrestling a little bit more than her first title reign. If you remember, Becky would go months without wrestling on Raw. She would only basically wrestle at pay-per-views. But still, man, it's just, I don't know. I don't know, man. I feel like if I keep talking about this, I'm gonna have a headache, man. I'm already feeling like shit, you know. But I'm gonna zoom this in because I kind of want to lean back in my chair. I don't really. I don't. Yeah, I know that. Ew. Oh my gosh. I kind of want to lean back in my chair right now. I kind of want to. Kind of want to do the lazy podcast review. Like this is the way it is. This is what it's come to. Me leaning back in my chair, because that's what I feel. Like I still haven't even fixed my microphone stand. Like seriously. I don't know. I'll zoom out a little bit because it does look a little bit creepy. But I don't even know how I want to do the Raw review now. If I'm being honest with you guys, I don't know because I don't know if I feel like going through this whole show. Let's look in the chat again. Oh man, but let's go through Monday Night Raw. Let's do this, all right? I don't know if this is gonna be a quick review because every time I say it's gonna be quick, I sit up here for 2 hours. Because the Liv Morgan thing is the big thing that I wanted to talk about. Everything else in the show is like Edge and the Miz and WWE Championship situation or whatever. So we're gonna get into this show, right? Like I said, Raw was another dud. Same old, right? I'll say this, man. I do want to get ripped like Biggie, man. I look at Biggie. So let's get into it. So the show started off with Biggie versus Kevin Owens in a steel cage match, right? And we know that it's gonna be Kevin Owens versus Biggie versus Saffron in a triple threat match at day one in about 3 weeks. And that's I'm not sure that Kevin Owens' contract expires that night, but Kevin Owens has been doing like this little countdown on his Twitter every single day. Every single day, like now I believe it's like 26 days until he becomes WWE champion. That's what he's been saying, right? Shit like that. And thing about it is, I like look, the match itself, okay, it's gonna be good, and in terms of look, Anthony, you've been telling me how great Seth Rollins has been as a heel, and I gotta be honest with you, Seth Rollins has been great as a heel. I gotta zoom this in more. This shit's pissing me off. Like for real, it's the little things that piss me off these days, man. But I'll give Seth all the credit in the world. Seth has been fantastic as a heel. He has really found his groove as a heel, right? I'm not a Seth Rollins fan, but I will give him credit where credit is due. I am a fan of Kevin Owens, right? Even though I don't like how they turned Kevin Owens heel. He never needed to be heel to begin with. And I am a fan of Big E. And this is where I'm going with this. I have become a big fan of Big E, and I'll give credit where credit is due. Big E has been a fantastic WWE champion so far. He has done a fantastic job of making himself into a single star and differentiating himself from the New Day. Yes, he still has some of that humor inside of him sometimes, but for the most part, he's been super serious as a WWE champion, right? The crowd is behind him. He's beloved as hell. He can talk on the mic. He can go in the ring. He has the look of a champion, and he's also been a really great ambassador for WWE. And it seems like every single week now you see Biggie at a big boxing fight or at some sporting event with a nice suit on promoting the company. And that's really good to see, especially as a man of color. It's great to see Biggie succeed as WWE champion, and he's actually becoming a really, really, really great top star. I'm loving that. So I got to give Biggie credit. But the problem here is that there's no real story to really dig your teeth in. Like, that Seth and KO and Big E are going to kill it at day one. It's going to be a fantastic triple threat match. But there's no story there to really be like, there's nothing to dig your teeth into. And I'm having trouble. It feels like WWE, and this is what happens when you don't have things planned in advance. It's like they're going with this week by week. 1 week it's Big E versus Seth. Another week it's Seth versus KO. Another week is Big E versus KO. It's like they're trying to find ways to, get this thing to day one. Because WWE, instead of having this planned out, they saw that, all right, day one's going to be 5 weeks after Survivor Series. And we're just going to book it week by week instead of having a plan in place. That's the problem. Like, I know the match is going to be good at day one. They're going to kill it. But there's no story to dig your teeth into. And it's just like, you're just waiting to get the match at day one. And Big E's most likely going to retain anyway. So it's just like, you know what's going to happen here. You know what the end result is going to be. But just getting there, it's just like, there's nothing there. There's nothing here. You turn KO heel for what reason still? I don't know. Right? Because he's leaving the company anyway, most likely. So it's just like a waste of time. And Seth is great, but, I don't see Big E losing that title anytime soon. Maybe WrestleMania, maybe. I don't know, but, as great as Seth is, and you can make the argument that Seth can, or should become WWE champion with everything he's done this year, you're not taking the title off Big E right now. So it's just like, I'm trying to get myself invested into this because I know how good a match is going to be, and I like the people in this match, but it's just there's just nothing there to dig your teeth into, and it's just like whatever. So you had like Big E versus KO here, and like I said, I've stopped. I'm gonna be honest. You guys are gonna, and this is gonna be a common trend. I've stopped watching a lot of matches on WWE TV. And especially with the Patriots and the Bills game, and you guys know I live here in the Boston area. You know, I root for Tom Brady on the Bucks, and I root for the Patriots. So I was watching the Patriots Bill game for the majority of the night. I had Raw on my phone, and I had the Pats game on the big screen on the TV. You know, I was not paying attention to most of the matches tonight. You know, I was not. The match I paid most attention to was the main event. So, look, Biggie and KO had a good match based on what I saw, of course, and you knew they were going to kill it. I just didn't have the desire to look into it. I just did not have that desire to look into the match at all. So I looked at it, and I saw the ending, and I saw Biggie hit KO with the big ending from the second rope. That was the same way I believe Biggie defeated Bobby Lashley when they had their steel cage match back a couple months ago. And, you know, keep in mind, we'll talk about Bobby Lashley here in just a moment. Biggie wins the match, right? And at first, you know, after he hit the big ending, he didn't go for the pin. He actually went for the door. And I was like, what the fuck are they doing here? Right? They're gonna find some way to make Biggie actually look stupid here for the first time as WWE champion, right? Because WWE doesn't know how to book baby faces. I thought legitimately, you know, Seth Rollins was gonna come from the outside and cost Biggie the match. I was like, Biggie, you just hit your finishing move from the second rope. That should defeat basically any other superstar. But he's crawling for the door trying to make the exit. Luckily, he actually made it to the door, and he was actually able to exit. You know, so Biggie won the match. So they did make him look stupid here. But I was like, God, just go for the pin. The match is over. Why do you have to crawl for the door? There's absolutely no reason for you to be crawling at the door. So after the match, Seth Rollins attacks Biggie, and basically he's attacking Biggie. He's attacking KO. But Biggie was able to recover, and then he was able to. He took out Seth with, I think, like a overhead suplex, something like that, or belly to belly suplex, and then he hit another big ending on KO to look strong. But then we come back from commercial break, and then we see that Biggie, along with everybody else, is still lying at ringside. So clearly something had happened over the commercial break, and then we see that during the commercial, Bobby Lashley had come out, and Lashley had attacked all three men and laid them to waste. And I wasn't surprised when I saw this, because I thought right away, they're just going to try to make this into a bigger match, right? They're going to make this into a fatal four-way, you know? Because Bobby Lashley, he clearly has nothing to do right now. There's really nobody for him to feud with. So they're like, okay, this is already a triple threat. Why not make it a fatal four-way? Why not? Right? So lastly, you know, after attacking the men, he did an interview later, and he said that he felt disrespected that, you know, that there was this big WWE Championship name going on, and his name wasn't involved. So probably most likely what's going to happen is they're going to have Lashley added to the triple threat, and it's going to go from a triple threat to a fatal four-way. Honestly, Seth Rollins should probably be pissed off about that, because remember, Seth won a ladder match. I don't know if you guys forgot, but Seth won a ladder match on the season premiere of Raw to become the number one contender. A pretty damn good ladder match, if I remember correctly. And now, all of a sudden, these men are being added to the match. Now it goes from what is supposed to be a one-on-one match, right, that he earned, to a fatal four-way, which makes his odds to win at day one that less likely, with more men being involved. So that should be interesting. If I'm Seth Rollins, I would be pissed right now. But, you know, most likely Lashley's going to be added into this WWE Championship match at day one. It is what it is, you know, but I'm also thinking, like, the Elimination Chamber is going to be, in February, March? Usually we have the Elimination Chamber before WrestleMania. So how likely is it that we're going to see all these men inside the Elimination Chamber again fight for the WWE Championship, right? You have them. This turns into a fatal four-way at the day one pay-per-view, and then we have Elimination Chamber about 1 month, 2 months later, and then we're gonna have to see the same men in the chamber again fighting for the WWE Championship. This is what I'm talking about. WWE just doesn't know how to do long-term storytelling. They just don't know. It's just the same old stupid crap. That's what it is. The same old stupid crap all the time. So, but that's how the show started off. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, the match of day one will be good regardless. And I love, Biggie. I enjoy almost all the men involved here. But it's just not creative. It's just lazy booking. It's just like, it's just hard to. There's really no story there for you to really grasp your hands on. So moving on. Next up, we had Queen Zelina versus Nikki ASH. There's really nothing to care about here when it comes to the women's tag team titles. They're completely worthless. It's really that simple. They're completely worthless, if you ask me. And I actually like Zelina Vega, but they're just worthless. So Zelina came out and cut a promo on how she was gonna beat Nikki ASH. Nothing important of substance here. The match was whatever. Nikki took control with a bulldog, but Zelina countered a suplex and stacked Nikki up in the corner. The ref saw that Zelina's foot were on the ropes, and she stopped the count. But Zelina was able to get the win with the code red, and then Rhea Ripley had a disappointed look on her face as she saw her partner lose. So Zelina's been winning a lot, so it's like WWE's like her they're making up to Zelina to all those losses she took earlier this year when she returned. But like I said, I have no care for this. The women's tag team titles are completely meaningless. They mean just as much as the 24/7 title. Both titles are complete dog shit. And then later, backstage, Nikki ASH was disappointed, right? Rhea Ripley was trying to cheer her up. And it looked like there was some fan there that looked like they wanted to get a autograph from Nikki ASH, but instead they were just getting an autograph from Jerry the King Lawler, right? This was just to get a quick pop because, of course, Jerry the King Lawler is from Memphis, Tennessee. And that was that. Worthless, like I said. Women's tag team titles to be completely burnt. So then we had the RK Bronament, right? So this is basically a mini tournament to determine who's going to be the next contenders for RK Bro. The next in line to challenge RK Bro for the Raw Tag Team titles. Most likely this match will take place at day one. And the thing about it is, what's funny is this tournament had basically the only other 4 teams in the division, outside of Rude and Ziggler, of course, right? 5. So you look at it, there's 6 teams in the division, even though for the most part, RK Bro has cleared out almost all of the division, right? You have AJ and Almas, you had Alpha Academy, you had the Street Profits, and you had the Mysterios, right? And it was kind of entertaining because you had Riddle and Orton at ringside with these really cool blazers. And clearly, for the most part, they said this was, Matt Riddle's kind of idea. Orton just kind of followed along because, this is his partner and it does concern the Raw Tag Team titles. So you had Orton and Riddle at ringside, but it just shows how bad WWE has been at booking tag team wrestling this year because basically this tournament consists of all the teams in the Raw Tag Team division, right? And there's only 4 teams, 5 teams if you count Rude and Ziggler, but they've already had their mini feud with RK Bro already. And it just shows how far WWE Tag Team Wrestling has fallen. Like we've seen AJ and Almas versus RK Bro already. And we've seen them really face all these other teams. So it just it doesn't really matter And then, yeah, it doesn't really matter who wins this tournament. It's not believable that any of these teams are gonna be RK Bro. Really, none of them. I don't. Maybe the Street Profits, maybe, but I don't see anybody taking those titles from Arcade Bro anytime soon, especially with how entertaining they are as a tag team. So I don't know. I don't know. I do like how Riddle tried to make this a little bit creative, a little bit fun, but in terms of the tournament itself, it's just nothing impressive here. Nothing. The best thing about this opening match with the Street Profits and AJ and Albus was the ending, right? Uh, so we're gonna skip to the ending. So Styles went for his phenomenal forearm, but all of a sudden, Almas tagged himself in instead, right? Then Almas took out both Street Profits at ringside, but then he got himself counted out by mistake that gave the Profits the win. After the match, Styles did try to talk to Almas in the ring, right? But instead, Almas stormed out in frustration. So clearly, I'm very happy about this. It looks like they are taking the first steps to a potential RK or not or AJ and Almas breakup. A breakup that should have probably been done back at SummerSlam when RK Bro first won the tag titles. You guys. I've been saying this every single time I've been on here. AJ Styles, the fact that he's not in the WWE Championship picture is a complete joke. It's a complete joke. It's AJ freaking Styles, one of the best wrestlers in the world. And you don't know how much longer Styles is even going to be wrestling. So the fact that you're not using him right now and you're having him rot away in this terrible tag team with someone that's nowhere on his level and who wrestles like a sloth in Almas is a complete joke, and it's frankly a slap in the face and disrespectful to AJ Styles. So this is something that should have been done 4 months ago. So I'm glad at least finally they're doing it. AJ Styles should be in the WWE title picture fighting Big E, not wasting his time with this oaf. So I'm really hoping this is the start of a breakup between the two, because I have no care to see Almas in the ring, tag team or singles. I want to see AJ Styles fighting for WWE championships again, going to WrestleMania season. That's what I want to see. So, I'm glad. I'm glad. Plus, the inexperience of Almas here, allowing himself to get counted out, right? It's clearly, it's gonna be something to look at over the next couple of weeks. So then, after Almas left the ring, Styles was still in the ring. Riddle, this was hilarious. Riddle comes in the ring and he tries interviewing Styles, right? And he had this whole ultra ego and everything. But Styles was confused by his efforts to be a correspondent. And then Styles was like, "What the hell are you doing?" And then Styles threatened Riddle and then left, right? So then Riddle goes to Randy Orton for comment, and Orton had absolutely nothing to say, and that was all we heard of from Randy Orton tonight. Like I said, man, Riddle and Orton, they are so entertaining, even when they're not trying to be. But this was kind of cool. So I'm glad that it looks like we're finally getting the first steps of AJ and Almas breaking apart. We'll see if Almas fully turns on Styles in the next couple weeks, and maybe that turns Styles back into a babyface. We'll see. But I am glad that finally they're breaking up that hideous team. I'm really glad about that. Next up, we had a U.S. Open challenge with Damian Priest, right? And Robert Roode was the one to answer the challenge. JD from NY said on Twitter how he finds it lazy how WWE and AEW do this with their mid-card titles, right? The TNT title on AEW and the U.S. title here on Raw. It seems like when they don't have storylines for the mid-card titles, they just rely on open challenges, which I do agree. I actually do agree. I like open challenges here and there, but you need to have storylines. When John Cena was doing the U.S. Open Challenge back in 2015, he also had ongoing storylines. Remember, he had an ongoing feud with Rusev. He had an ongoing feud with Seth Rollins. He had an ongoing feud with Kevin Owens, right? So it made those U.S. Open Challenges more special because, you were like, oh, if Cena loses his U.S. Open Challenge now, how's it going to affect the current feud he's in? You know what I mean? So that's why I enjoyed about Cena's U.S. Open Challenge. It seems like now they just do the Open Challenge whenever they need a good match for a show, right? They don't have anything for Priest, or you need a good match to fill in time. Oh, well, yeah, let's just throw our babyface mid-card title or mid-card champion out there for an Open Challenge. Let's just do something like that. That was spared 15, 20 minutes easily. So I do agree that WWE and AEW, they need to be less lazy when it comes to booking, these open challenges, right? But the match here with Robert Roode was good, pretty good. So Roode hit a backstabber for another near fall. Roode then fought out of the Reckoning and almost won with a roll-up, but Priest caught him with the I forget what it's called, but Priest called him with his finisher and then got the win. Priest retains. So okay match. I don't know if they're gonna have anybody built up for Priest for day one, but we'll see what happens. At least Priest is booked better than Shinsuke Nakamura is on SmackDown. I love Nakamura, but the guy has not had one legit feud at all for his IC title. I don't even know when was the last time Shinsuke defended the title. So I think they got to do a way better job with Shinsuke as the IC champion. At least with Priest has, something going for him. Next up, we had Doudrop versus Bianca Belair. This is, of course, a little bit of a side feud, right? For Bianca. Bianca's not in the Raw Women's title picture right now. And like I said, we don't know where Bianca's going to be come WrestleMania season. We know, now that we're starting to, start thinking, if Becky's going to be the Raw Women's champion going to WrestleMania, like a lot of us are predicting, what does that mean for Bianca Belair? I personally wanted to see something like Liv Morgan versus Bianca Belair, but the chances of that happening are pretty low, unless they were to do something non-title. But I don't know what you're doing with Bianca Belair come WrestleMania season at this point in time. And for now, since Becky buried her, they've had Bianca in this little feud with Doudrop. And like I said, I'll say this, the match they had tonight was not bad at all. It was actually decent for the most part. You had Doudrop's size versus Bianca's quickness, strength, and athleticism. And getting near the closer to the end here, right? We saw Bianca start rallying with a comeback, and she hit a crossbody for a 2 count. But then Doudrop hit a Vader-style splash in the corner, where I actually thought this was the end of the match, right? That Vader splash looked pretty devastating. So Doudrop, after hitting the Vader-style splash, got another near fall. But then Bianca, then Doudrop starts getting frustrated that Bianca keeps kicking out. I like how Doudrop was like trying to take out the I forget, like the barrettes in Bianca's hair and all that. That was kind of cool. But then Bianca was able to, get the advantage, and she was almost able to lift Doudrop off of the KOD. She wasn't quite able to get her up, but she was able to lift her up a little bit, which looked very, very impressive. And actually was probably maybe the loudest the crowd had gotten all night up to that point. So then after that, right, after Doudrop rolled out of it, it looked like Doudrop was like, oh, I'm done with this, I don't know if Doudrop felt offended that Bianca had been able to, lift her up like that. I don't know what it was, but Dewdrop after that, she rolled out of the ring, and then she walked away, and then it gave Bianca the count out victory. So I don't know where this goes from here. I don't know if they plan on continuing it or not. It was we do kind of need an explanation for why Dewdrop just walked out when the match was actually pretty good. And I hate that. I hate when a match is pretty good and then we get a lazy finish like that. But, it is what it is. Dewdrop actually looked pretty impressive in this match. This is the kind of match I want to see. What can Bianca put on against competition that's not usually like the Four Horsewomen or something like that? This was pretty competitive. Dewdrop looked great in it, right? And we'll have to see what happens. On her way out, Dewdrop turned her butt to Bianca and then slapped her like, "Kiss my ass, bitch." So we'll see. We'll see what happens here. Clearly, this feud is not done yet, right? I think we all want to see Bianca hit that KOD on. Excuse me. We want to see Bianca hit that KOD on Dewdrop. The question is not really if, but when. When is that gonna happen? Do they wait till day one? When do they want to do that big moment? It'll be very interesting to see when they do it. But yeah, it's good to see Bianca having okay matches with people not named the Four Horsewomen. Really really enjoying that. All right, next up. We had Miz TV with Edge. And usually this would be something where I would play the clip for it. But I'm going to be honest with you guys. Something I always try to be, especially when I'm behind this microphone. I have absolutely zero care for this feud and everything it means. Zero care. Zero care. It makes no sense to me why we're getting the Miz versus Edge. I legit sat through the Miz TV segment tonight. I listened to every word they said, and I was just like, why are they feuding? What? Is Miz is mad that the Edge didn't really show him kindness back at the beginning of his career where people were, hoping that the Miz would be a failure? And then Edge saying, no, it was never like that, all this other stuff. And then all of a sudden now these two are beefing to the point where they need to face each other at day one. Why? I don't care about Edge versus The Miz on TV, pay-per-view, the sky, the moon. I don't care for it. I don't want to see it. There is no story. No story here at all. I'm legit sitting here puzzling like, so what's the story here? Why are we doing this? Right? Like, why can't we do this match out on Raw? Why the hell should we have to pay to watch Edge versus The Miz on pay-per-view? There's nothing here. There is no story here. So why waste our time? Out of all the people, right? All the people, you had all these people Edge threw out a couple weeks ago about who he wants to face. But instead, we're wasting time with him facing The Miz. Nonetheless, is going to be on a pay-per-view at day one. Why? Now we got to sit through the next 3 weeks of build where there is absolutely no build, no story for Edge and The Miz. Nothing. It's just a complete waste of our time. We're complete garbage, man. I don't get it. Man. Why the hell? I don't understand it. Honestly, I might play the clip anyway.
Writing's not that easy.
Oh, now we do, and by the way, we do have an exclusive clip from Monday Night Raw. Liv Morgan's reaction to the end of her match with Becky Lynch.
Excuse me, Liv. Of course, not the results you were hoping for tonight on Monday Night Raw with your match against Becky Lynch. However, this has to be such an incredibly emotional moment for you. The biggest match of your career. What's going through your head right now?
Oh man, so many things, so many things. It's not the out. Oh man, I don't want to cry. It's not the outcome that I wanted at all. But I know I made my family proud. I know I made my mom proud. I know I made my friends proud. I made the fans proud, and I made myself proud. And this is not done by any means. She needed to cheat to win, and this is far from over.
So what can we expect?
Guess you're gonna need to wait till next week and watch me.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Ugh.
Oh, hey, it's me, Adrian.
All right, I'm gonna
Sono Bello because
pull up the
they
clip.
permanently remove your fat in just.
Miz, earlier tonight on Monday Night Raw.
You know, Dewdrop attacked me. Did that get Dewdrop in the title picture? It didn't. Did that get Dewdrop getting? Yeah. It.
Lose.
Yeah. It's definitely personal. You know, what opportunities is Dewdrop getting other than trying to get relevant off of my name? You know, Dewdrop attacked me. Did that get Dewdrop in the title picture? It didn't. Did that get Dewdrop on the Survivor Series team? It did not. Dewdrop is focusing on the wrong things. And at the end of the day, I'm actually rooting for Dewdrop. I am. I want her to do great. I'm not in her way. She's in her own way. She's focusing on the wrong things. But since Dewdrop wants it, she can get it. And since she started it, now I'm going to finish it.
Yeah, I found it. My bad. Took me a
I'm
second.
sure no one would be looking in your direction for this.
Don't talk to anyone.
First of all, you paid $9,000 for those ugly ass shoes. My Jordan 3s are way cooler. Second, please don't mistake my, for lack of a better word, kindness for weakness, okay? I don't know what's going on here, but clearly you have bigger issues than me. What is the deal?
Kindness. Let's go on that kindness, because I don't need your kindness and compliments right now. You know when I needed your kindness? Was back when I first started in WWE in 2006. That's when I needed your kindness. When I was walking on eggshells, that's when I needed your kindness. When everything I said and did was wrong, that's when I needed your kindness. When I was kicked out of the locker room, that's when I needed your kindness. But we both know I wasn't kicked out of the locker room for eating a piece of chicken. No, I was kicked out of the locker room because I didn't fit the mold. I was an outcast. I was ostracized. Everyone knew I had the it factor. But everyone was so busy protecting their spot, including you. So instead of embracing a young star coming fresh off a hit show like MTV's The Real World, I was treated like a peasant when I was more famous than 90% of the locker room. So your kindness, I don't want it or need it.
So you're gonna paint me with that brush? You know,
Look, I'm not gonna sit here and say that The Miz isn't great on the mic. He is. He's a great talker. You know? And when Miz gets, ramped up, right? And he's talking about how people slept on him back then and didn't believe in him. It's true. The Miz has a pretty good story if you look back at him. Miz was not supposed to be a successful WWE superstar. And now, like him or hate him, The Miz will probably, no, not probably, he will be a WWE Hall of Famer one day. You know, he's had a Hall of Fame career. He's had a lot of ups and down moments, but he's had a lot of, great and a lot of success. He's a 2-time Grand Slam champion. You know, he will be in the Hall of Fame. But at the end of the day, if I'm talking about right now with this story, nothing that Miz is saying is captivating me. Right? Or captivating me. There is nothing here that's telling me, oh yeah, I have to get invested in this. I love Edge. I love him. But really, this is the feud that you have Edge in? Coming back to Raw? This is what you're doing with him? There is nothing here. It's almost maybe not the opposite. I talked about the WWE Championship match earlier. How I just wasn't that excited about the story. I know that Biggie, KO, and Seth are gonna kill it at day one, but at the end of the day, there's really no story there. Now you look at here, there's absolutely no story here, and I just don't really care about the match. Edge and Miz could give you a 5-star match at day one, because Miz, he is underrated in the ring, but I have no care for this match or story at all. I have really no idea why these two are feuding. I have no idea why they're feuding. The promos are great. Both are really good at what they do. Miz and Edge are fantastic on the mic. Two of the best talkers of all time. But I just don't care. Why are they feuding again? I don't get it.
You're glossing over some. Paint me with that brush. You're glossing over some. Gonna paint me with that brush. You're glossing over some key points here, because it was in this arena where I pulled you aside and I told you, listen, man, you do have something. You do have an it. So please just ride through this. And even though it's BS, you're gonna be just fine.
Oh, gee, thanks. Wow.
No. You know what? And you know what you did? You brushed me off. You don't remember that, do you? See, I went through the same things as you 7 years before. And if someone had pulled me aside, you're damn sure I would have listened. See, the biggest difference between you and I didn't walk into the locker room and think I'm more important and a bigger star than everyone else. And I'm not afraid of losing my spot. I see a new opponent, I see a new face, I see a new opportunity. I don't hold people down. You want to blame everybody else, Mike? But here's what you need to do. At the end of the day, tonight, you need to look at yourself in the mirror, and that mirror is going to tell you the same thing it told you in 2006. Miz, you're an ass.
And you're a hypocrite. And you're vulnerable. And I have surpassed you in and out of the ring. 2022 is going to be the year of Miz. And I can't think of a better way to usher it in than beating you at January 1.
January 1. That's such a weird name.
So if that's a challenge, you're on. But I'm standing right here.
All right, this is where I'm going to end the
We're
clip.
in Memphis, Tennessee. And there's nothing between us but air and opportunity. So what do you say?
Air and opportunity. Yep. Why should I care? I still have no idea why these two are fighting. I still have no idea why. Why? What? Miz wants to start what he's calling what's going to be the best year of his career, right? What's going to be the year of the Miz by being a Hall of Famer at day one, right? A future Hall of Famer beats a current Hall of Famer, a living legend in Edge at day one, sure. Whatever. Right? Whatever. I have no care. I truly have zero care right now for this feud. I just hate that this is what you're using Edge for. This is the first thing. Why not do something like Edge versus Bobby Lashley? Right? Instead of forcing Bobby Lashley into the WWE title picture, right away, and make it a fatal four-way, you know what you should have done? You should have had Bobby Lashley attack Edge. That's what you should have done. And have Edge versus Bobby Lashley at day one. Wow, but WWE doesn't know anything about being creative, right? Let's do a match that no one gives a shit about. No one. No one. Honestly, man. Anyway, CM Punk tweeted out, and I quote, "They're giving Liv the bride puss. Actually, sounds like some of you guys I have..."
This son of a bee. No. What do you got, Stockholm syndrome? Yeah. Do you effing got Stockholm syndrome up in this son of a bee? No. What do you got, Stockholm syndrome?
So even CM Punk was paying attention to Raw. Oh my gosh. And yeah, and Sean Ross have said, also people should remember WWE did their best to avoid their push as long as they can, which is true. They didn't want to push. They didn't want push, or they didn't want to push Daniel Bryan. The fans legitimately forced them to. They would have boycotted WrestleMania. They didn't do that. All right, anyway, let's get back into it. Like I said, there's nothing to care about here with Edge. There's nothing to care about here with Edge. Sorry. Nothing to care about. I'm not saying I'm not going to watch the match. I just, it's not like Becky and Charlotte situation at Survivor Series. I just don't have any care for it. All right, what's next? All right, so next up, we had the Mysterios versus the Alpha Academy in the other match in the RK Bronament, right? So we had Matt Riddle back on commentary here. Orton wasn't out, which I wasn't surprised. I was like, yeah, you already got Orton's presence in the first match. Orton was not going to come out for the second match, right? But they did say earlier in the first match when Styles and Almost were facing the Street Profits, they did say that the one team that they wanted to face really was the Mysterios. That was a team that they hadn't faced yet, and that was a match that excited them. So I don't know if that means the Mysterios will end up winning this thing, but it was something to note here. So we got the match here. So Gable took you also have to remind yourselves that Ray and Dominic, they did feud with Otis and Gable quite a bit over on SmackDown, so these two were no strangers to one another. Gable took Dom down by the legs, right? Dom hit a few moves and went for a tag, but Gable yanked him back and slapped him in the face, right? So then Dom pulled Gable away from Otis and hit his own slap to the face before tossing Gable out of the ring. So then Gable hit a quick belly-to-belly out of nowhere and then went back after Dom's leg, right? Dom avoided a moonsault and rode Gable out of the win out of nowhere. So this was a quick little match. Otis never got into the match, and we barely saw Ray, right? So it was kind of cool to see how it was mainly this Gable and Dominic trying to outsmart each other and keep each other from, tagging out, right? Keeping the action between themselves. But then after the match, Riddle went to interview Alpha Academy, but Otis ended up slamming him to the mat. Otis clearly being angry that he didn't get tagged into the match, plus the frustration of losing, right? Plus the annoyance of Riddle. Otis just decided, I don't want to have to deal with this crap right now. so he got rid of Riddle, and Orton wasn't anywhere to help his buddy out. But anyway, next week, Street Profits, Mysterios, right? That's gonna be one hell of a match. I feel like that's gonna be a really good match next week. I don't know who wins. You can go with either team, but we just know the team that wins will be facing RK Bro. But I would probably guess day one for the Raw Tag Team Championships. Next up, we had Finn Balor versus T-Bar. Almost feels like Finn Balor's an afterthought on Raw, kind of, right? We're talking about all these people in the WWE title picture, and you don't have Finn Balor's name in there. I don't know. So Finn Balor versus T-Bar. It's like Finn Balor is just kind of lingering in limbo right now. He's not in the WWE title picture, not really doing much of anything. I don't know. We'll see if that changes going to WrestleMania season. Balor's way too good just to be, lingering. He's just really he's on the show every single week, but he's just not really doing much of anything important. So this match with T-Bar was pretty quick, right? Pretty quick. Balor hit one with the coup de grace. Nothing too crazy here. But after that, Austin Theory came out and attacked Balor before taking a selfie to impress Vince McMahon. And they've been doing this storyline now with Austin Theory and Vince McMahon, right? Vince is wanting Austin to impress him. Vince being like the master, even though we know that Vince is so out of touch these days, right? But Vince's TV character is like this master, and then Theory is the young apprentice, the young superstar trying to build, pave his own path. So it looks like Theory and Balor are going to be feuding now, which that's a fresh matchup and could be exciting. There could be some good matches there between those two. We'll see what happens, but nothing too wild. Nothing too wild. I do find like Vince and Theory's interactions kind of funny. Cause I like Theory as a character. Like he'll be sitting there casually, and then he'll just be looking at his bicep, like rolling up his sleeve. Kind of funny. But still, we'll see what happens here with Balor and Theory. Something to keep Balor busy. It'll be good for Theory. I think Balor could really help Theory get over a little bit. But I do want to see Balor enter more into the WWE title picture a little bit, right? Because remember, that main event scene is probably the strongest thing that WWE has going for themselves on Raw. Because when you have names like Biggie, Seth, KO, right? You have Lashley in there. You add Balor. And maybe Styles gets in there. If they're breaking up Styles and Almas, you have the potential to have a wicked good main event scene. And WWE should take advantage of that. But for right now, we'll see what happens with Balor and Theory. That could be an interesting little program. Last but not least, of course, we've talked about it enough. We had Liv versus Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's title. This the thing about it is Becky came out like around 10:25, but the match didn't get started until about almost 10:50. Almost, because they had a commercial. Becky came out, they had a commercial break, then they had a segment, like a couple backstage segments, right? Then they had a Liv Morgan video package, which was great, but I don't know why they waited till now to play that video package. Where was this video package in the weeks prior? That would have built more hype and intrigue to this match. And then they had Liv come out, then they did championship introductions, and by the time all of that was done, the match, there was about, a little over 10 minutes left in the show. So let me read Bleacher Report's analysis. So this is what Bleacher Report said about the match. A lot of fans have been asking for Morgan to get a big opportunity. I'm one of them. And WWE finally gave her a shot. This was the night to prove she belonged in the title picture, and she did not disappoint. Liz was a great champion for the face because she has a proven track record of being able to have good matches against a variety of opponents. I don't know about that. I'm not saying Becky sucks in the ring, but I don't know about that. That this more describes, Sasha Banks, the best female wrestler in the world. I don't know if Becky's been able to have good matches with a variety of opponents on a consistent basis, but whatever. They worked together to create an interesting story inside of a good match. The finish was the only weak point. Even if Morgan was going to lose, the dirty pin didn't protect her the way WWE wanted it to. Other than that, this was a fantastic main event that should lead to Morgan getting more opportunities. This was one of the best episodes of Raw in recent memory. Let's hope WWE can keep this trend going. What kind of fucking pack are the people at Bleacher Report smoking? One of the best episodes of Raw in recent memory? Huh? I need that in the stream so, man. This is the kind of crap that makes you go crazy. But anyway, back to the match itself. So the match itself was pretty good. The problem was that, like I said, they waited so long to actually have the match go on. There was a little bit over 10 minutes left in the show. Plus, there was a commercial break, so it only really felt like Liv and Becky, like, for people watching on TV, not in the arena, that only felt like maybe seven minutes of in-ring action. It was fast-paced. I'll give them that. But, it was good for what we saw. But for a main event, especially a title main event, it should have been longer. That's why I wish it started around, like, the 10:30 point. That would have been the hard-hitting match we all wanted. They're probably saving that for, day one. If they do the rematch there like we all should. So we saw Becky knocked Liv down with a shoulder and flex for the crowd. Morgan took her down and made Lynch take a breather at ringside to avoid a drop kick. Becky took her down by the legs during a leaf log, but Liv was able to get some near falls with different pinning combinations. I like this part. There was some fast-paced pinning combinations here. Morgan counted to disarm her and kept trying to get the pin, but Beck kicked out every single time. So Lynch kicked Morgan out of the ring but missed a baseball slide. Morgan took her down with a double knee to the face, followed by a suicide dive. I liked how aggressive Liv was here. I really did like her double knees. I did enjoy that. So Lynch was in control after the commercial break. But Morgan nailed her with a beautiful insecurity to give herself a moment to breathe. Really hard hitting. Because my problem sometimes with Becky's in-ring is that it's just sometimes not that believable. Sometimes it's just weak as hell. It's like some of those the kicks just look weak. With Sasha's double knees, it's always hard hitting. Bailey, Asuka, right? Their offense is very hard hitting. Even Liv's offense here. You can kind of feel like, damn, Shayna Baszler, for example, always a hard hitter. Bianca. Bianca doesn't waste time either. Becky's offense sometimes is just very, very weak to watch. So then Morgan hit a slingshot double knee for a 2 count, right? She then hit a missile drop kick after another 2 count, but then Lynch put her in a double arm bar. The man rolled over and tried to apply the disarmer, but Morgan got her foot to the top rope, right? And here I thought Morgan actually had a chance. I was like, oh, Morgan escaping the disarmer, right? She actually has a chance. Plus, then Morgan countered the manhandle slam, so I was like, okay, maybe Liv can do this. Maybe we're going to get the unexpected. And then all of a sudden, Lynch rolled over and grabbed the rope to get the leverage for the pin and the win in the disappointing finish to end the night. The predictable but disappointing finish to end the night. I hate that roll-up now, man. I hate it. Becky's won almost every single one of her matches since she turned heel with that maneuver. And I understand it a little bit, of course. Becky being heel, you're not going to really have the baby faces tap out to her submission move, but still, I'm like, the same way you buried Bianca Belair, that's how we're going to bury Liv Morgan, right? Fucking stupid. So afterwards, you end the show, Becky celebrating, of course, and then you have Liv Morgan crying in the ring. And then they had, if you guys saw my thumbnail, they had the camera during this match a lot on this cute little fan with a blue hoodie who was heavily cheering for Liv. And then, the disappointment on her face after Liv lost. I just had to put it on the thumbnail because to me, it made a lot of sense. It made a lot of sense with the frustration that Liv Morgan and lots of wrestling fans are feeling tonight as we're continuing to go in the same endless cycle, always with Becky being put on top of everybody. But other than that, that's how Raw ended tonight. I don't understand how the fuck. I have no idea how Bleach Report can come out and say that this is one of the best editions of Raw in recent memory. Like, what show were they watching? Like, what show were they watching? I'm not saying this show was bad because it wasn't. It wasn't a terrible show, but, like, best in recent memory? What kind of smoke are they, like, what? I don't know what the hell those people, the people running Bleacher Report are doing. But anyway, other than that, guys, that's about all I got for you guys today, man. Look, I'm going to try to get out of here. I don't really want to talk any more of WWE tonight. I have a headache already. But, look, I'm disappointed with the Liv Morgan situation. Tonight should have been the night you had Liv win the title. And I'm going to stand by that. I just, the chances of that happening at day one are just so low to me. Just ridiculously low. And I want to believe that Liv will get a chance to win that title. I do. Because she deserves it, and she's highly underrated in my book. So I do want to believe that Liv will win that title at some point in time. But I just feel like there's no way Becky doesn't enter WrestleMania Raw Women's Champion. And, you want me to believe that Liv's going to get this booking, this underdog story that goes from now all the way to WrestleMania. I don't trust WWE. If they didn't care to book Liv Morgan successfully the last 4 years, I have no plans and no belief that they're going to book her strongly for WrestleMania, their biggest show of the year. No. I have no belief in that whatsoever. But hopefully I'm wrong. I actually hope I'm wrong here. But we'll see what happens. But other than that, guys, that's about all I got for you guys today. Thank you guys for joining me back here for another episode of the Legit Shoot Podcast. I know it's been a while since we do a Raw review. I know a lot of you guys are hoping that we're back on schedule. I'm not going to make any promises, but I guess I'll say I'll do my best to be back on that consistent basis with the Raw and the SmackDown reviews. It was good seeing you guys in the chat tonight. I missed you guys, really. And like I said, there's a lot going on with me right now. I'm not really in the best mindset, but, still, it was good to see you guys here for the Raw review. You guys are awesome. But other than that, guys, this is all I got for you guys today. If you guys enjoyed the review, leave a like on the video. Subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. Hit the button right next to my name, Fitz TV, so you guys are notified every time I post a new video. Other than that, guys, that's all I got for you guys today. I'll see you guys later. Thank you to everyone who followed me on social media, right? Thank you to everyone who live tweeted with me on social media. You guys are what's up. My social media links are in the description, by the way. But I'll see you guys later. Stay safe and healthy, y'all. Peace.